So let me begin with Rick Cutlass. Here or not here? Rick Cutlass is not here. Marshall Allen. Marshall Allen.
We knew he was not going to be here.
Okay. Ants. Here. You're here. Okay. Paul here.
Paul Debbie, no, he was not.
Schleckelbeer. Yep. I'm sorry. Al Warren. So we got Warren.
Yeah, shoot.
Should have 4 board members and council liaison partners.
We made the roll call, so first thing we have to do after that is approve today's agenda. Does anybody want to make any changes? If not, we have a motion to accept the agenda as written.
Accept the agenda as written.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Next thing is approval of the previous minutes of the last meeting. Does anybody want to make any changes to that? If not, can I have a motion to accept as written?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Second.
All in favor to accept the minutes as written from last time, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Is there anybody from public here? I don't think so we don't have to do that. Communications, we got Ryan, Keith, and Sam. Who wants to go first? Keith?
Okay. Communications here, we talk about the month of May's revenue. The single biggest revenue producing month this golf course has ever had. I said that one other time and then Sam won't let me, but I don't think he's going to say it this time. Because he's not listening close. So,
What do you say?
I said single biggest revenue month ever, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
For us as well, yeah.
For sure, yeah, okay, good. So, want to make sure my facts were good.
Oh, wait a minute.
Hold on. So, seriously, 226, unbelievable. I mean, and the weather wasn't even great. It was, and obviously June wasn't much better, and we're on our way to going over 200 in June as well. So it's incredible, and it's just been great. Actual rounds, 4,801 rounds, projected in at 4,200, so, and above the Browns for the actual for 2022. So it's just been, when we are open, it is busy. We raised our range ball prices this year, and we probably should have gone even higher, because I never seen the driving ranges just so. Ryan would attest to this. We were talking about the other day. There's practically no grass out there. They're busy all the time. It's really great. It's really fun. So golf course is in great shape. I got to give it to Ryan and his staff because it's been challenging. We had a full lake in number 18, basically from the 100-yard marker back to about 175. You couldn't walk there 2 weeks ago. Right after what was that? Right after the concert. Saturday after the concert. Yeah. So, and honestly, we probably shouldn't have had carts. We were booked solid from 6 to 6, and the morning crew that day made the decision to go ahead and let them out, and it was the right decision in terms of revenue goes, because we take carts off on a weekend, we lose 80% of our revenue. So, easily. And it was a tough decision, but the course has recovered well, and it's firmed up real nice, actually. And greens are in the best shape they've been in all year right now. So any questions for Twin Peaks? All right.
Sure, I'll go.
go down the line, I guess, here. I'll just kind of keep following suit with what Keith had to say. It is definitely some of the biggest numbers I've ever seen, period, for Sunset, ever. Actual numbers came in at 94,000. Revenue-wise for us, when we were projected to do 61,000. So, big numbers there. Rounds, 4,247 rounds as of right now for that month. 8,900 rounds sold for this year. I can't agree more. You're open, we're busy. It's unbelievable. Seeing numbers, cart numbers. Revenue for the cart fees. I don't know about you guys, but Father's Day doing that report was, I've never seen cart numbers that high, at least for Sunset. Just the carts alone was crazy. So I just looked at the T sheet a little bit ago. It was kind of open in the middle of the day today, but other than that, it looked solid in the morning, looked solid most of the day. I'd say 90% full, and tomorrow's the same way. So I can't argue. Course is in excellent shape. Number 2 was a struggle bus for us for a while, but Ryan and Danny have done a lot of work on there, and I haven't had any. No one's complaining. Everyone's loving it. Course is green. They are all super green right now. So, any questions for Sunset?
Okay, great numbers. Just to echo what these fellows have said, it's been great. $301,126 first month that increase over the 300 mark, so that's kind of fun. And looking at month to date, we're at 262,000 for June. I think we might do it again. We'll be real close to 300 again this month. It's been good. Of course, in great shape. So players have a good product to come to. The feedback we're getting from customers has been amazing. Greens are going good. Today I noticed it's starting to get dry a little bit for a change. It's nice. It is nice.
Doesn't take long.
It's been too lush. I mean, the native areas, we're going to talk about snow clay later, basic clay issues. That's been a big one in Eagle Creek. And especially this year, the native is so tall, the bottom is in it. Don't even bottom, it's gone. So, Dan and his crew are starting to cut it down, so that's going to definitely help. But, numbers are great. When we're open, just like Ryan said, when we're open, it's filling up pretty good. So, it's a great time to be in the golf business.
Anything else for that report? Well, thank you very much. Sounds wonderful, actually. Old business, there is none. New business, review policies. Market procedures.
Keith's getting to that.
For the market.
Yes.
Basic play.
Well, I think that, all 3 golf courses, we all have marshals. I think Sam has first 2 greeters as well as marshals. We all kind of do things somewhat the same, but at the same time slightly different. Our marshals are encouraged to go out there and make the day better for folks, but at the same time, these here at Twin Peaks, I don't want them hassling customers. In fact, I got a complaint from a customer yesterday who felt like he was hassled by the marshal. Now, good news was they got around in 3 hours and 57 minutes. But the bad news is it's not fun to play golf and have the guy following you or be near you or leave and then come back to you all day long. So I try to make sure that the guys here are out there helping them. They're visible, they're being seen. They do a lot of stuff, in and around the building as well. Taking out the trash for the maintenance crew on the driving range, cleaning up the cars, reparking the cars, restaging the cars, stuff like that. It's tough because all the marshals that we have are volunteers, and they are all not real young, and we have a crowd of folks out here that I'll just tell you a little story. I had a picture sent to me on Saturday night of some guys on number 15 that were driving their carts literally right up on the green. Okay, and the neighbor who kind of watches over the golf course there, he's hollering at them from his backyard. Right? And what do you suppose they're hollering back? And you can fill in the blank. And if the marshal goes out there, you know what he's going to say to the marshal? It's the same thing. If I go out there, you know what he's going to say to me? It's the same thing. Because that's the intelligence level that we have, that we're going to drive on the green. The intelligence level is not going to really listen to authority either. So that is always a problem, I think, for all of us. Maybe more so for me and Ryan and Sam. But we have that, and it's tough because it isn't as if we can go out there with the authority vested in us to just pull people off the golf course. They're not coming, and they're going to give us a hard time. So it's a challenging situation because, you know, slow play is, you know, on the weekends it's always slow. I had a guy call in one day and says, "Got a marshal out here?" I said, "Yeah, he's just out there." "Well, it's slow." And I said, "Well, is there any holes? Is it, you know, is there a group holding everybody up that we can go speak to?" No. I said, "Well, it is Saturday and it is rush hour traffic on Saturday." And I said, "And that's just how it is. You do the best you can to keep up with the group in front of you. And if everyone's doing that and we're as congested as we are, it's going to be slow. And that's just part of it." He goes, "Well, can I get a rain check?" And I says, No, you can finish." And he did. But the reality of it is, when you get a lot of golfers on the golf course, and now you played out here on Saturday when you did your deal with all your guys, you guys made it around real good. But the reality of it is, on the weekends, it's not a fast pace all the time. And
You have to expect 5 hours.
yeah, if you expect 5 hours and you finish in less than that, then that's great. And there are certain days and certain times that you can play less than that. When I play on Fridays, tee off around 9:50, we usually make it right at 4 hours almost every time. But if I tee off at 12:30 after we've been booked solid all morning, it's going to be a 5 hour pace. It's just how it is. And, you know, we support the marshals in that. If someone gives them a hard time, then yes, we'll go out there and try to talk to them. But it is a challenging thing for the marshals. The best they can do is go out there, make themselves visible. You know, I have them, the nice thing about my golf course is a big rectangle. So a guy can make a full run in about, 10 minutes. He drives around, he makes sure there's no holes, especially on the busy days. If it's a busy day, there's no holes, it's good. And it is nice because the customers will always, it's a little different for Sam. The customer calls in at New Creek and he's on number 14, and the group in front of him is on 16 green. It's a long drive to get out there at 14. But at Twin Peaks, I can be at 14 in about 43 seconds. So, and the customers are pretty good about calling in if someone is slow. And so we will go out there and I have the guys say what they can say to them and encourage them to try to play a little faster. And it works more often than not. So the policy, I'm sure, is much deeper than that, but the reality of it is that's kind of how we run it every day. I think Sam and Ryan do something a little different than that. You got patrolling guys on both sides, right, Sam?
We do on our busy days, yeah.
Yeah. And then you got a first tee greeter. We just don't have enough volunteers to do all that at Twin Peaks.
When we don't have enough marshals to do both nines, we find it to be better to have first tee greeter, because that kind of sets the tone for the day. First tee greeter can suggest, hey, here's the tees you guys should play from. Here's the pace of play policy. Here's the pace of play card with some tips on it, for the beginners type and stuff. But I think that the first tee greeter definitely sets the tone. And it's a lot better than just, people get nervous when they see a marshal out there. It's like, oh shit, here comes the marshal. I mean, it's kind of, you all understand that, right? See the marshal coming and you're so nervous. But we definitely try to get the course marshaled as much as possible, work it in reverse, and say hi to folks, how's your day going? And hopefully it's all good. So New Creek, we just have a lot of challenges in New Creek. We got 5 lakes, 7 creeks, out of bounds on almost every hole, native areas. There's just a lot of trouble on New Creek, and it can really slow things down. sleeve of golf balls now, 12v1s, $16 a sleeve. You know, guy's paying over $5 for a ball, he used to have an head area, he was looking for a while. That bite, nothing ain't gonna find it. But, so those are the things those are kind of the challenges we have to do.
So the one thing with marshals, this is you creep in and not so much as the marshal will come and inform us, right? He'll say, look, there's a foursome in front of you, foursome in front of them, you're in the foursome. Well, that helps. Now you know why. You know, it's going to be a 5-hour round. If you play golf, you know. So that goes a long way to not being afraid of the marshal, not being nervous when they do those kind of things.
Yeah, they give you a heads up on what's going on. That's
Yeah.
great to hear that they're doing that. You know, we have so many volunteers and so much staff at Ute Creek. I feel sometimes that communication gets broken down. We always have to remind staff about things.
The other comment I had about the marshals was, did they fix the ball marks?
If it's slowing out, I mean, to me, that's not their job. I mean, if it's slowing out, they can fix ball marks. Their job is to get out there, monitoring basic play.
Yeah, I mean, I do, but
Like so busy, you can't.
yeah, I know, I get that. But like, for example, you know, we talked about the condition of the courses right now, which is actually, which I just played with 3 minutes ago. And the 8th green is getting.
He gets bad.
He gets bad. You know what I mean? So,
Well,
and if I fix 3, there's still 10 more I'm not gonna get to because I gotta go too, so.
That's maintenance.
Players.
To that end, now, our guys out here, we carry around in the back of the cart, they got a big, huge, you know, plastic bin full of sand and seed mix, so they're out in the back 9, especially in the morning when it's not super busy with carts coming in and there's not a lot of golfers. And the golfers in the morning, Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday, they move along real good, they do their jobs. So our guys will be out in the back 9, fixing ball marks, filling divots, collecting trash, stuff like that. Helping us with junior golf on Mondays and Tuesdays.
I mean, this increase in rounds and revenue comes at a cost, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, one thing we did when COVID first happened, we went to no play for about a month and a half. Then we went to 15-minute tee intervals for the distancing thing. And then we settled in at 10, and we kept it at 10. And that's really improved the customer experience, I think. But what we also do is we'll squeeze times in every hour and a half, every 2 hours. We'll throw in an extra group just to maximize revenue. I mean, you create one group is over $200 for foursome. I mean, that adds up. So I'm trying to get if we get extra 5 groups a day, we're making an extra $1,000 or so. But the 10-minute intervals definitely help. But as you mentioned a little bit ago, that the marshals try to tell you that you got this in front of this, and it's like golf is like a one-lane road. When you're going up to visit the mountains and you get behind a Winnebago, that's that slow group that's slamming gears and there. You can only go as fast as they are. And it's our job. And what's tough, and what's really tough for the marshaling is some of the guys don't want to play fast. They pay their money. They're gonna play 5 hours. That's what they want. They don't want to be pushed. Guy behind them wants to play 4.5. So it's really difficult pleasing everybody.
That guy can send an email though, can't
Exactly.
he? And he does.
Yeah.
Or he does a nice, kind review.
You're right.
But that is the tough part. And the reality of it is, if you're playing golf and everyone is positioned properly at a public golf course, you should be waiting a little bit on every shot. So when I'm teaching people, I'm teaching beginners out there, I'll point to them. You see the group on the tee box, we got a group in the fairway and a group on the green. As soon as the group on the green clears, the group in the fairway is going to hit, and the group on the tee is then going to follow in suit. And I'm always teaching people that if you're waiting a little bit, you're right where you should be. If you're waiting around too much and not paying attention to what's in front of you, and Sam's right, we have those guys that, they quite frankly, that's the downside of COVID. We have a lot of people playing golf that have zero etiquette. And they don't care, and they pay their money, and they're going to do whatever they want, and you're not going to tell them otherwise.
You know what though? It's great. We were just talking about this with our staff the other day. We're having so many more younger guys in the game. We didn't have that. We didn't have that for a lot of years. They come out every now and then. these guys, I mean, they're coming out regularly. So we have a new set of younger guys to kind of fill that void of the baby boomers, if you will. I mean, it's very nice to see.
And Haystack.
They got their music cranked up, you know, it's a whole different, and it's fun. And to me, I like it. I mean, when I play, I like to make music too. It's
Yeah,
fun,
no, I get it.
you know. I don't drink beer though.
With Haystack closing, that definitely brought a lot of that out too. And we have a lot of the CU guys at all three courses. The CU students are coming in all the time, even during the summer, tons of them, filling our golf courses. And I think they all never made it this far before because they all played at Haystack. And now that I think they're getting used to our three facilities and they feel welcome here, they continue to come back over and over and over. But as I mentioned before, we're just, last year I think there was 3 or 4 Friday nights in a row where we had fights out here. So this year, no fights on Friday nights.
That's no fun.
But it's not fun when it happens, but there's just not a lot. I mean, and I don't want one of my marshals to go walk out and get in the middle of that. I really don't. And I don't want myself to either. And it gets a little bit, people get mad and they get frustrated. So.
And that's why I put this on the agenda, is just to share with you all the difficulties, because you got so many different interests out there. We're so busy in trying to find that balance of pushing people without ticking them off. And it is a very hard thing to do. So I compliment the marshals and the work that they're trying to do, but wanted to give some information to you all so that if you're out there and somebody talks to you, you understand the difficult job that those people have trying to keep things moving. So,
It hasn't changed in 20 years when I was marshalling.
yeah.
I was just sitting
Yeah.
on Sundays at sunset.
Oh, yeah.
For 5 years.
You make one person happy and you take the other one off.
No, the course was completely full. I mean, it's a 9-hole course first off, so you're not going to have tons of space in that.
Right.
You got every tee time at that time. I think we were doing every 7 and 8 alternately.
Yeah.
And so it was a 315 per night, and people were upset about it. I'm like, what do you expect? There's no place to go in this course. There's no par 5s. You have no distance. I can't move anybody along any faster. They were just stacked. Now, there are holes, that's a different story, but very rarely do you ever see a hole on Sunday at sunset.
And it's interesting, because not that I would promote or encourage slow play, but what are y'all in such a hurry for? These people that want to come out and play in 4 hours, I'm like, what are you going to go do? You're here with your hand-selected crew of your best buddies, and you're in a hurry.
It's
It
like,
doesn't make any sense to me.
And those guys, it doesn't make sense to me either, because it's like, they don't talk about, I shot 114. They talk about playing 4 hours. It's like, good crap. You played 4 hours, is that fun? You don't even line up a putt.
Yeah, I got to play in the Broncos alumni thing this year that was really cool at the ranch, right? And I think we played in just over 4 hours, and I was really upset about it. Because Daniel Graham was on our team, right? And I was having the best time playing golf with Daniel Graham. And then the group in front of us, they kept leaving us, so we had to hurry and catch them. And we played really fast, and I'm like, why don't we get like another 20 teams so we can all play slower and enjoy the day more? So I know that there's a balance. I'm not saying people should play slow, but I'm saying that you've chosen this day to go play golf. Enjoy your time out there.
It should just be a good flowing course.
Yeah.
And that's very difficult to achieve. But however, I do gotta say, it's been a huge challenge for us over the years. But we've taken a lot of steps, a lot of different things that we've implemented, and it's starting to really pay off. I think we don't get many complaints about basic planning.
Oh no.
It's been very good.
I think the biggest,
You just said.
I think the biggest problem is that if you have, and I played at youth at one time, and it was just a group ahead of us, and we knew it. They didn't move along fine. It was when you're waiting 5 minutes at every shot. So I understand that there's going to be times that You lose a ball, you're looking for something, you're gonna have it back. But when you step to the tee, it's 5 minutes. You go to the fairway, it's 5 minutes. And you go to the next shot, it's 5 minutes.
That's
So that's where the frustration comes with slow play. And not that we need to get done in 4 hours, but if you gotta wait 5 minutes on every shot for every hole, it's no fun being out there. That's a different scenario.
Well, and especially when it's the
Yes.
group in front of you, and it's evident that the group in front of them has left them.
Oh yeah, there was 2
And that's,
there, because we
but
can see
that,
it.
but I'll bet you guys called in, right?
Well, it was even worse than that, it was with Jason, so we already knew the group ahead of us was another marshal. So, okay, they had the marshal go tell the marshal to go move forward. So it was,
That's pretty funny.
it was kind of funny in a way, and they finally did, and then they dropped off at the ninth hole, so at their back nine and moved along just fine. But
You want people before Super Senior Day.
Yeah.
that's a
Why do
different
you play,
scenario.
why do you play on Friday morning?
I think I made a mistake one time, and I
Yeah.
was, three groups waiting on, I mean, we thought we were,
It's usually the last couple of groups for the senior center.
yeah.
That's, and it's ritual, and we know it's gonna happen.
I
We
was
try
teasing
to,
you.
we try to block things out a little bit to kind of accommodate for that, but again, it's pace of play is hard because a lot of players follow what the tour players because they see on TV that they play who had what. Heath made a 4, Ryan made 3, I made 4, Dan made a 5. Okay, we're on the tee box ready to go. Ryan's still lollygagging his way up there. We're all standing waiting for him to tee off instead of playing
Ready to go.
ready golf.
I was just teasing you.
No,
I-
no, I-
We were hole number 3 on the tee box, and we were the third group waiting.
I had Saturday morning with men's league. I actually had 60 players, and don't know what happened at one point, but there was 3 groups on 5. Don't know what happened. But the last group came in at 4 hours and 15 minutes. So what do? I mean, it takes one person in the group to miss
Oh.
hit something, especially, certain golf courses.
Yeah, full competition, because I gotta go back or whatever, they didn't play provisional, et cetera, et cetera.
If they're playing that serious.
Well, if they're
Yes.
playing in a tournament.
Yep. If
That's
that's
what
not, even, yeah, so, you don't need to be too in that situation even though.
So anything else on slow play? Well, then, I guess we move on to the next item, which is sunset golf presentation.
Just getting logged in here. All right, so Brian and I will give a little presentation about Sunset so far this year. We'll start with the maintenance aspect of the course. Ryan will move on to the first off, and then, feel free if there's any questions along the way to ask, or at the end, we can answer some questions too. So let's get started with projects so far this year. So one of our big projects this year was we had a furnace in the attic, crappy heat exchanger, and once goes bad on the furnace, it's like pretty much had that happen, it's pretty much replace it because it's done for. Well, we found out the rest of the other AC units and furnaces, all except one, were all from 2003, so they have definitely seen their usage. So this year we changed out 2 furnaces, leaving 1 furnace that was from 2018 and all 3 AC units, which have already been struggling every summer when it gets to 1. And this work was completed about 3 weeks ago. So right now we have pretty much an entirely new HVAC system at Sunset Clubhouse, all except for 1 furnace that still had plenty of life in it. Which I'm hoping, as I've heard from some of Ryan's staff, that is already making a big difference as far as cooling the building.
It's not me, it's really. Thank you.
So then, so you also may know, with the water tank project that's still been going on, we lost about 42, 44 some parking spots on the upper half of Longs Peak due to the project. So myself, along with Jeff, Ben Wagner, and other rec staff within the aquatics department, have been working on some auxiliary parking. You notice on the right picture here, or I guess your left, where this van is parked, we added 4 new parking spots, kind of in the middle row of the parking area there. We felt there's enough room there, so we added 4 new spots, along with 4 temporary spots up by the party pavilion where people can park half on the grass, half in the parking lot. So we gained 8 parking spots within the golf course parking lot for staff, well, for patrons, along with asking staff to park on the north side of the building where that access road is to help ease the congestion. And then as a whole, or entire, we also on the upper part of the practice facility have added a temporary makeshift parking lot that after a slight redesign after we first got it started after Memorial Day, have now been able to accommodate 33 designated parking spots within the area on the end of the practice facility along Longs Peak. So between that and the 8 parking spots we had at the pro shop, we pretty much got our spots back and then some, along with a few parking spots that were added in the swimming pool parking lot from where we were previous summers.
We're asking the pool staff to park down in this area to try to leave as much space open for golfers and swimmers.
And for going back on some afternoons to see how things are looking, this parking lot has gotten very good use so far, so hopefully it's helping alleviate some of these congestions.
And Ryan says we got 44 spaces back. That gets us to where we were. This complex does not have enough parking the way it is. And, you know, today was almost 90. The next couple of days are going to be in the 90s, and it will be almost impossible if you don't get there early to find a parking spot.
So next I'll move on to course conditions so far, which we kind of covered in the rounds by the pros, but our biggest thing this year, which is hard to imagine where we came from with the spring/early summer we've had so far, is we came out of winter at sunset, especially with a fair amount of winter damage just because of all the snow and ice that was holding around on the golf courses this year. I think altogether we had around 70 days we were completely covered, which from a turf aspect is right around 30 to 40 days is when you start worrying to see damage because the grass starts to suffocate itself. So we saw that due to extended periods of snow. These areas, once we finally saw some decent weather, were seeded and roped off to help promote the growth, which with all the rain was an excellent growing season for all the seed we were able to get down earlier this year, down at the end of March and through April. And we've seen a lot of areas that were seeded pretty much have came back already, in the fairways especially, in the boxes. So, like Ryan mentioned, number 2 green was the worst green that came out of winter over at Sunset, along with 5 had an area, 7 had a little bit of damage just because they're north facing, and the trees that are around them give them an awful lot of shade where they don't fall off very well. As much as we try to scrape them off in the winter, can't really scrape them off when it's still an ice cube frozen to the top of the green. So here's just a few pictures that I had from earlier in the year showing where number 2 started looking like. With on the right here was the earliest, and then kind of progressing to more recent over towards Ryan on the other side. So you can see it was slowly making its way back. And also, big part of the greens recovery. We were out this year with the cedar, which is the picture on the far left. So when we aerate, we make sure we hit the areas with the cedar since the greens were opened up, get some seed into the greens, and then top dressing to help protect that seed, which the rain really helped a lot. So we have the seeding practices we did, and then here in the middle shows number 5 where we go in and the spots that are still looking rough, we go in and plug them out, which the picture here on the right kind of shows the plugs we use. We have a little hex cutter that makes a plug about, say about 6 by 6 that we plug out some of the larger areas. We put a ball mark repair tool in the middle to kind of give a gauge of size and scale on that. So I did that, and the next one here, so I'll go back. So here is where we've been recovering. So on the left over here is number 2 green from just last Thursday. I took these pictures. So it's coming back. There's still some spots that are isolated around the green where they're bare. But I spoke with Danny, who's the senior tech over there, the full-time assistant. And since we started plugging 2, 5, and 7, he's counted that we were at just over 200 plugs in the 3 greens. I think his count is about 220 this morning. So we've been making a fairly good dent in what damage was still out there still. So we have pictures of 2 here on the left, 7 up here on the top, and 5 here in the middle.
Did you say where you got the plugs?
So we are taking the plugs from the practice green, the chipping green that are down by the maintenance shop. I forget what year it was, but that green was pretty much doubled in size to help accommodate for if we ever needed it for a nursery green, since it's out of play and it's kept the same as all the other greens. So it's a good area to transfer plugs or sod from when we have some damage in it. So this way, we'll take one of these plugs out here in the middle, and then we'll cut a plug off the chipping green, and then we'll put the bad plug into the chipping green, and that way it'll be out of play, and that green can heal up on its own. So once we get these areas and feel like we've done enough plugs, we'll seed and probably cover that area on the chipping green to help promote growth and kind of rope it off a place to give it a rest. And then here, towards me, these are just a few areas out in the rough and fairway we've done. This top one here shows where you can see where the cedar went through and kind of some of the signs that would show that the seed has germinated, the lines coming perfectly through. And if you can see it, this area right here at the front of number 1, all this area here was bare at the beginning of the year. So I went from bare to something like this, and now you can barely tell what it looks like. This to kind of illustrate how good a growing season we've had for the seed we're able to get out there. And we're hoping, and I read kind of some stuff that it sounds like it's supposed to be dry and hot now all of a sudden, and you read something that says it's supposed to be one of our cooler summers on. So we're hoping between, I guess, whenever it decides to make up its mind, that we'll still have some good weather to help get the greens and the rest of the course back in good condition going into this upcoming winter. And I'm still talking with Ryan and kind of seeing how things are going. We're trying to come up with a plan for number 2 going into this winter to help protect it a little more if we have another winter like we did again, either covered in sand to help protect it or put it in a turf blanket, which helps keeps the heat during the winter in the green and keep the snow and ice from melting into the crown of the sod throughout the year and suffocating the grass. So right now we're kind of going to plan for something and see where the year takes us and put it into effect once the leaves start to fall. But it feels like it's so far away, but it's already almost the 4th of July next week. Or next week already. All right, so that's all I had on the maintenance side. So next, Ryan will talk a little bit on the clubhouse and the event side of it.
So for Sunset event-wise and whatnot, we don't do a ton of tournaments like Sam and Keith. Being it's a 9-hole facility, it's a little tougher to accommodate large groups. Granted, we do have some large group events that I'll get into, but the main thing we really do is our leagues. I have the men's league, then I have a 9-hole ladies and an 18-hole ladies. The 18-hole ladies is kind of struggling because we're not getting that younger generation like we are seeing at all 3 golf courses with the younger, like male generation coming up to play more golf. The ladies leagues aren't seeing that as much. Also, maybe because it's 18 holes on a Tuesday morning. Don't know yet. We're still working on that. The ladies 9-hole, however, largest grouping they've had this year. There are 62 registered members in the league. We get about 50 to 55 every single week in the mornings, unless it's cold. But other than that, it's been pretty good for the leagues there. Men's league, again, a record number for us right now, 139 registered. When I send emails out to our database for the men's league, I send it to about 161 people. The difference there is some of our Twin Peaks and U Creek members, so they're associates to us, and or they haven't reviewed. So, but I've never had to turn men's club guys away to play golf before, but I've had to make sure and remind them after our opening event. First 72, and that's it. I was not paying attention enough at the beginning of the season to the signups to close it early enough, and we had 90 signed up. And at that point, it's hard to turn away and tell, those guys you cannot play golf. So the way we set it up was a Hansen, and our Hansen tournament is the biggest tournament we do every year. It's 90 players, 5-man scramble teams. So you have 10 people on each hole. Expect a 6-hour round at that point. Keith's favorite time. It's fun. It's if you're expecting it, it's not a big deal at all. Nobody's gonna complain about it at all whatsoever because they're there to enjoy the day. I will tell you that was a huge day. And I'm looking forward to the Hansen because that's next month, or excuse me, August. We're not in July yet. Don't get ahead of myself. The only other leagues we do mostly evening leagues, minus the senior center on Friday mornings. They have record numbers this year. They actually had to cap it, and a lot of people that played last year did not get to sign up because they didn't sign up fast enough. So there's still some groups that they book their own tee times now later to still play with the senior center, but they've got 2.5 hours of tee times at every Friday morning, and they fill every single morning, every Friday, right? Lutheran League is Monday nights tonight. I looked at the tee sheet before we started the meeting. They've got 6 groups. They had 5.5 groups show up today. Perfect for 90 degrees, in my opinion. Hilltoppers, ladies league, they show up every Friday, every week. If it's raining, they're disappointed they can't play, or they play it if it's not that bad. Iron Maidens is a kind of a branch grouping of ladies from your sweet spot. They're hit and miss. Some of them show up one week, they don't show up, but they've only got 2 to 3 tee times a week, and they usually call me the day before or the morning of to open it. And same with the Elks League, Thursday nights, usually full every Thursday for them as well. I think a couple people here and there miss out, but next month. When it comes to tournaments, I do have them, obviously, but 72 is usually the max, minus the Hansen and minus my opening day scramble. Most tournaments start around that 45 to 72 number is usually where we try and get it. I try not to do as many small events, especially on weekends, because I know weekends we're going to maximize everything. If we have an outside event that wants to do something, they have to have 72 on the weekend. Other than that, I push them to Fridays, Thursdays, whatever they can make happen for them. I can't argue. I have more tournaments that I'm working on But Greg Mall's tournament is the next one that's on the list. That's at the end of this month. Lori Mall and Mike Mall should be sending out invitations to a few people. After that, then I will send a mass email out to fill out T-Rose. And I will tell you 72 probably not be enough either for that tournament this year. Because I had guys disappointed they could not play last year. So, so again, the list of them, the ones that we kind of just talked about. IPA Day was a fun one we kind of created last year. Odell Brewery, he came to me, the rep, and said, hey, I want to put on a tournament, IPA Day, do a scramble event, and I have all of this stuff I'm going to throw into it as well. It's coming back again this year. It's the first, the first Thursday in August is what the date is. It's about $70 a person, but you get food, you get beer, and golf is what's included with that event. And I've already got 4 to 6 teams signed up, and I haven't even put out the flyer yet. He hasn't given it to me. I've kind of gone away from glow ball, but Ryan O'Hanlon, he got me started with my business for insurance through True North here. And he passed away recently, and his family and them have asked and requested to do glow ball for a memorial event. We haven't talked yet, but I would like to sit down and talk and get your ideas. But that is a discussion in progress. We haven't really had much time to sit down to really go through it. So,
Like a 6-week thing?
no, not sitting. No. The only problem with doing glow ball, the setup and breakdown is extremely time consuming. It takes about an hour and a half to set up, and it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to break down. Plus, at that point, staff is there at, you can't do a glow ball. It's dark at 9 o'clock, so you're basically starting at 8:45 as the sun's gone behind the mountains, and then you're playing for 2.5 hours into the night, and now you're at 10:30, say 11. Cleanup ends at midnight, 1 o'clock, and at that point, who wants to work? None of my staff is ever, I love them all, but I don't blame them. No one wants to step up to do that one. So I always work it, and I always put the carts away, that kind of thing. So it's a lot of work, but I'm all about doing it for special occasions, I think, at this point. Go for it. Kind of a picture of just kind of the basic setup that we do for outside now for food and beverage when we do our tournaments. You finish the round and or during the round, depending on the event. The handstand, I do it in the middle of it. They tee off about 10 o'clock, is it normally? So 10, by 11:30, I've got food ready so they can make the turn, because there's usually a group or two waiting at number 1, so they can sit, eat, and then go back to the tee, and it does not add more time to their turn. But we just kind of do buffet style for the most part. Just about everything and anything. All comes down to the price and if you can get it nowadays. I don't know about you guys, but brats, that's been a fun one, huh?
A good one.
Yeah. The ones that I at least normally carried, according to our rep, the Rockies bought all of them. So we've gone through 3 different brats, and I think we finally found one that's pretty good. But I was really upset about that one. Odell IPA Day, so just kind of a picture. Last year they did, everyone got an orange, bright fluorescent orange IPA Day shirt. You got a 19-ounce Odell IPA can of beer. Plus we did food, and Odell gave away prizes like crazy. They also did a beer for a year for someone that played. It was a raffle, had nothing to do with how well you played, and a rep meets up with a person somewhere and gives them a case of beer. So I think Steve, not Saunders, yes, Steve Saunders.
Oh, did
he won it. He doesn't drink beer.
he? did.
So, but I don't think that one will.
He does drink rum.
I don't think they'll do free beer for a year because of how much he's like, it's such a pain to bring a case down. Meet him at gas stations or like a liquor store one day just because, you know, we were closed in January, February, and March, so couldn't meet them at a golf course or something like that. So, but all that beer goes through the golf course still. It's not brought out and given to them that way. It goes through my liquor license still. Kind of just a basic inside of the shop for food and beverage. We're kind of evolving, I guess you could say, when it comes to the food side. With the fryer that we have, you know, internal fryer, I bought that a few years back after Stan bought it, and I saw how well it worked. I had to do something. So we do just about everything, and it takes anywhere from 6 minutes or less. For wings, it's 6 minutes. Chicken tenders, 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Fries, 4 minutes. Everything's timed. It's very convenient, and it's fairly quick, even for, you know, you come up and say, hey, do you have anything? Do you have a hot dog ready? No, it takes 3 minutes though. Throw it to the fryer. They're pretty darn good when they're through the fryer. Even if you leave them out on the roller, I think they're still better on the fryer than they would be on a roller, in my opinion. But
Anything fried is better.
it's not wrong. But you know, honey bourbon broths have been one of the biggest ones that we've had lately, and I think they're pretty good. Merchandise, clothing, I kind of went a little overboard this year, I'm gonna say. You know, I think you mentioned it, Steve's celebration of life, not having someone there to tell you not to buy this, not to buy that. That comes in handy sometimes. But we had a great year last year, and so I felt it was necessary to have more, and then it was a slow start, but we're right about where we were last year, realistically. And you know, it's good to have product. However, you know, same with food and beverage. It comes down to what's available. I know Pro V1s are having a little bit of a problem getting at the moment, but they should be getting caught up, I think. There was a urethane issue, supply chain issues, what they were telling us a while back. But other than that, everything's coming in pretty good. Yeah, I've got I'm excited for the way the year's going so far. I'm sure everyone else, hoping everyone is feeling the same way so far. But yeah, any questions for my side of things?
Ryan, what percent of your people of the golfers that come to Sunset try to play 18 holes?
That's a really good question, because it's probably more, it's not as much as you would think it would be.
Yeah, all I can think about is what they're trying to manage that. It's got to be incredible.
Well, so the only way to do 18 is you have to book it with us over the phone. Or otherwise you can do it online technically, but you'd be paying for 2 tee times. That's the only way to block it out. So I'm gonna say somewhere in the market of around 15 to 20% tops.
Wow.
And it does sound high, but it's not that high in my opinion, you know. But it is a tough boat to manage.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people expect Sunset to be 2 hours. USGA rated us at 2 hours and 15 minutes a couple years back. And realistically, it's about 2 hours and 20 to 2:30, depending on the given day. So for my staff you call in and you say, hey, John, hey, I want to play 18 holes at this time. Well, I can get you out at this time, but your turn time, if I go 2 hours and 15 minutes later, there's no openings, so I can't get you out. Or I gotta move you down like to 3 hours after your original tee time, and you'll have to wait around. So it's a tough part to manage of that, but I get it a lot. We do have a lot of people that play 18 holes, or we have people that book through the Answers team, or they book online, assuming that without reading it, which we pay for 18 holes. $26 for seniors is not 18 holes with a cart kind of thing, you know, or non-seniors at 31, that's not 18 full price. But we try to build it in, and like Sam and Keith have done as well, you know, we squeeze tee times. So if we have to, if you played 9 and you want to go around again, and we have a gap, or we have enough to where we can read the situation, we can read each player that we've most of the people we know at this point, but a lot of them are new players. And if we know that there's 3 groups in a row of, you know, there's a couple men's club guys, there's a ladies couple league here, so we know they're not gonna take 10 minutes to tee off. So we can adjust it at a squeeze time and say, hey, I'll squeeze you in here in the next 5-10 minutes. We kind of bounce it around as best we can. It's a juggling act, you know, but it's a unique situation at Sunset with being just 9 holes.
So Ryan, I have a question. I've never played 18 at Sunset. Is there a defined way to do it? Like first time they play the white, then they play the blue?
So that's the way the men's league plays it. White's on the front, blue's on the back. Honestly, it's not that big of a difference. Let's be honest. You know, it's gonna add, you know, 20 yards total. But it is like a second different 9 sometimes. And I'll speak for myself on that. You know, I'll go out and play the front 9 and not know what the heck I did. And then I get to the back 9, the same 9 holes I just played, and now all of a sudden I'm 400. And I'm like, what did I just do? Why couldn't I do that on the first hole? Well, it's also probably because I just walked in the parking lot and jumped on the tee. No real warm-up session, you know? But, yeah.
Any other questions? Well, thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Well done, gentlemen.
Let's see, items from the staff. Items from the staff. Items from the board. Well, I've got a funny question. I'm on an HOA, and our 2 highest costs are the insurance for our homes, because we insure the outside of the homes, and water. We have not turned on our water yet this year. We're gonna probably later this last part of this week we'll do it. So I was wondering, how do you pay for water? Or do you pay, how does it go?
We don't.
Oh, okay.
So
too bad.
all city facilities, we don't pay for
You don't have
it.
to pay for it. I didn't know if you had a budget in here, we turn it on or whatever.
Generally with golf, how it worked, at least with Twin Peaks and U Creek, is that when the property was purchased, the water rights went to the water department in exchange for them providing us water.
Okay, cool. Any other items from the board? Or do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?